Alright, so it's time for the 15,000 subscriber special, and this time I am the booster pal. So we got all the whistles we need, we got the mega boost gun, we got maximum trust, some healing grenades, a Chikipi, and a dream. So we're going up against hard mode Bjorn. Gonna run into the corner real quick. This is something I like to do when I'm not doing a sort of speedrun DPS test attempt. You get these Fabric warriors nice and stacked up. They'll be hit by whatever area of effect skill you're using. This time it's Holy Burst, getting some stab bonus on that Airblade Holy Burst combo. And then of course Flame Funnel, because it's just extremely good against Bjorn. So the Mega Boost gun, it seems to last around 30 seconds. And then the healing grenades don't really seem to heal a whole lot. They're very, very spammable, but they're quite expensive to craft. It's cavern mushrooms being spent every time you toss these. 5 cavern mushrooms per heal. The heal seems to be, as mentioned, not super high, and this Chikipi is tanking quite a bit of damage. There will be some withdraw dodging, some repositioning, and just some spamming this every 30 second, the Mega Boost gun, and a couple of grenades. I crafted 100 for this attempt, just to try. That's 500 cavern mushrooms going down the drain. So we hope that it's worth it for this Chikipi, that it makes it worth the while. It is an alpha Chikipi as well, which does make it quite big. And for some reason they gave Bjorn just a ton and a ton of dark skills. So he's using the Apocalypse skill, he even has Dark Wisp, he has Spirit Flame, he has, what is it, Dark Arrow? I feel like he has more dark attacks than ice attacks, which might be true even. Then they also buffed Hydro Laser, it's dealing around 2.5 times more damage now. But outside of that, I feel like during these last few months, I've done probably at least 30 hard mode Bjorn videos of different skill builds and PAL builds and Noclum soloing it, doing the Fellbat build, everything like that. So I feel like I've said pretty much everything there is to say about hard mode Bjorn, and this fight is gonna go on for quite a while. So I figured for this subscriber special that I would talk a little bit about a test that didn't go so well that I did recently. So I wanted to find out, the optimum setup with all these new whistles we got. Do you want the +1, +2, +0 even? The attack whistle versus the elemental whistles? Is it worth, running one neutral whistle and one fire whistle here? Or how do they stack with stab, Celestial Emperor? You get the point. So I set up a little bit of a test. So the things that to consider here that might stack with diminishing returns or multiplicatively, some might be good, some might be bad. We start with the bounty tokens. When you kill an alpha boss, you get a token that ends up in your key inventory. Now these say that they give you an element boost of various sizes ranging from 1 to 3%, and they add up to a different total for each element. The first example there is Dragon having 16% and Fire having 11%, and then Dark having 15%. So Fire is one of the lowest ones. This will be relevant pretty soon in the story, I promise. We also have the same element bonus, a neutral pal using a neutral attack gets a 20% bonus, and this was pretty easy to test before Fabric, before they added all these bounty tokens and stuff like that. You would just take some sort of Ignis Breath and Dragon Breath attack, and you would go test it against the target dummy, and you would very easily see this 20% bonus. So now the question was, how is this interacting now with same element bonus, with bounty tokens, stuff like Celestial Emperor, the new whistles, we got partner skills like Selene that boost neutral and dark damage. So I set up a quick test just to start with a 0-star Selene. That's a 50% bonus. It has 20% bonus from neutral attacks, and that ended up being 67%, which is close enough to 70% to kind of assume that they are stacking additively for that 50 plus 20%. It could be diminishing returns going down 3%. We're not 100% sure. We added Celestial Emperor to that. It became 82%, not 90%. It's looking like it's diminishing returns there on having that Celestial Emperor, Stab, and Saddle partner skill. And this was something that we tested with Shadowbeak a while back, a video I did where I did the Siren of the Void and Invader versus Musclehead and Legend. And when you were mounted up, Musclehead and Legend had higher damage due to these diminishing returns with the passives. So it was like a pretty firm theory there that there was diminishing returns between these elemental passives, just like when you're stacking the boosters together with your passive skills and stuff like that. So I set up the second test, this time with Palladius. No Celestial Emperor on the first test, just testing Pal Blast versus Dark Laser. Now I got an 18% boost, not a 20% boost. Still sort of within the range, but it was a very obvious 20% when I tested back before Faybreak. So there could be some diminishing returns there just with the bounty tokens. So I decided, let's just test these bounty tokens quickly. Same Palladius with the Dragon Breath and the Fire Breath. That's a classic test to test all these stacking stuff. And for some reason, this is where the bounty tokens become relevant. The fire attack was doing more damage despite having a lower bounty token bonus. So there is something wrong with those bounty tokens. I'm not sure what. It could be that only like the one of them is working, maybe only some of them are working, but it was definitely not adding up correctly. So then I moved on to test number 4. Same Palladius, adding Celestial Emperor, doing same element bonus and the stab, or same element bonus and Celestial. Now that added up to a near perfect 40. That was pretty much like what I expected to see. So then I went on, expecting that maybe the first test was a little bit flawed, maybe I typed in a number wrong. Anything like that could happen when you're just spamming numbers on a numpad trying to see how much an Ignis Breath did. So we went on to a Blasphemute, that's 100% fire, and then 20% stab. That added up to 127% for some reason. So now it's looking like it's not additive. That was stacking up multiplicatively. 7% is a bit high when you're judging all these numbers, and I did do a lot of numbers just to see. So it was quite high. I added Eternal Flame to that. Now it's 160%. So these are stacking opposite from what the Selene was doing. The Selene was losing bonuses, while the Blasphemute was gaining bonuses. So instead of having just that 150, it was up to 160. Instead of 120, it was 127. So I decided, let's just skip this for now. Something's wrong with the bounty token, something is bugged, it's not adding up. I just decided, let's go on with the whistles. So I added the 30% bonus whistle and got 24% bonus, or rather the two whistles, the +1 and the +2 together, supposed to give 30%, they gave 24%. So I went and I tested fire again, because I had just assumed that I was making mistakes. And again, fire did more damage than dragon. Went back to, now we're on test number 10. I went down 200 rows in this Excel sheet just testing this stab stuff. So now we're on test number 10. I added 2 whistles, or the +2 whistle, supposed to be 18%. It was 17, that's close enough to just assume that it's 18%, no diminishing returns there. Added the second whistle, went down to 27, now it's looking a bit diminishing again, right? Went to test number 11, because then I went, maybe it's that the pal is supposed to be fighting alongside you, maybe something like that. I went and did a quick mounted up test using Ignis Breath and Dragon Breath while mounted. Again, fire dealt more damage. So now had done this test 4 times, fire had done more damage each time, despite the bounty tokens being higher. It just wasn't adding up. Then I went to test number 12. I did Selene again, because I assumed, the first test of the day, I probably did something. There was a food buff running out, there was something wrong with that test. No, Selene, 64% instead of 70%. Adding Celestial, 82% instead of 90%. So diminishing. So Blasphemute had, stacking multiplicatively, it was adding up to more than it should, while Selene was doing less than it should. And both of them are the same kind of partner skill, adding that 100% when you're mounted up. Same stab bonus, one of them with Eternal Flame and one of them with Celestial, shouldn't make too big a difference. I went to test number 13 and decided, let's just add these whistles again while mounted on a 100% Blasphemute pal. I added the 18% whistle, I got 3% more damage. I added the second whistle with 12, it added up to 6% more damage. So overall, these diminishing returns, something is wrong. There seems to be some sort of a cap, maybe. Like when you're past 100%, every point of elemental bonus you add starts stacking diminishingly. Maybe every point gives half of what it should be, but it wasn't working out. So back to this Chikipi. It's performing very well. 50 seconds left on the clock, it gets the kill. Nice and easy. So overall, that testing I did with all this diminishing returns and stuff, all I can really say is that there seems to be some sort of hard cap on elemental bonuses and that the bounty tokens are not working as intended. In this video, 485 cavern mushrooms were used for these PAL recovery grenades, and one mistake that I did notice while recording was that I forgot to put the curry in the food slot. So Chikipi at some point in this fight replaced its 25% attack bonus with a 10% bonus. I was using the advanced recovery potion, and here you can actually see the stats on this Chikipi. So this was with the wrong food. This is when I noticed that I had the wrong food. So it could have been even better, because food does stack multiplicatively. At least it did. Nowadays, I'm not too sure anymore. So when people ask me what's the best build, like who knows? Stuff isn't really working out. So comparing this Chikipi to my old Anubis, you'll see Chikipi was at 4,500. This is a Faebreak Anubis before Trust and before level 65. So you will see that this Chikipi actually has better stats than these maxed out pals that I was using in the Bjorn test during Faebreak. So this new Trust system, together with the Mega Boost gun, together with his healing potions, it's making this Chikipi incredibly strong. These two pals, the Asher Main and the Anubis, would not have been able to get this solo kill right here. So this trust system seems to be making every single pal just perfectly viable. Before, I think only Noclem was able to do the DPS to actually solo Bjorn with 0 player damage. So now it's a new era. Thanks for watching.